So in a previous video, we installed FSRM, or the File Services Resource Manager. Now, let's see how we can apply some restrictions from the FSRM to our C:\shared folder that we've been playing with in the series of videos. So I'm going to go to Tools and File Server Resource Manager. And we want to look at two things in this video, quota management and file screen management. So I'm going to start by explaining quota management. And quotas, this lists all of my quotas. Now, be aware, in FSRM, quotas can be applied to an entire volume or they can be applied to a folder. Before we start applying them, though, let's look at our quota templates. So here we have the name of the quota template, what the limit is, and what type it is. So a hard limit means that a user absolutely cannot exceed that amount of storage space. If they try, they will get a response back saying, I'm sorry, you can't do that, and they won't be allowed to save their file. A soft limit is, it'll give a warning, but that's it. It'll still allow the user to go up above the limit. So you can see the soft limits are all defined as monitor. It's more for monitoring usage than actually limiting it. The limits are going to be a little bit harder. Okay, let's go ahead and apply a quota. So I'm going to right click and create a quota, and I'm going to set my path. So I'm going to choose C:\shared, and that's going to be my shared folder. So that's where we're going to apply our limits. We can auto apply the template and create quotas on existing and new subfolders if we want to. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank, and we're going to do it for the entire path, not for every folder underneath it. So here's where we would choose our quota template. So 100 megabit limit, 200 megabit limit, reports to users, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and do 100 megabit limit just because it's close at hand. So here's going to be the summary of the quota properties. The source template, 100 megabit limit. Limit is 100 megabit. It's hard. There are there's notifications. At 85%, they get an email warning. At 95%, they get an email warning and an event log issue. At 100%, they get another email and another entry in the event log. Now we can modify any of those if we want to, either now or later on. If we want to do it now, we define custom quota properties, and that's where we start setting it. Okay, I click create, and that gives me my quota. 100 megabit limit. Now, if somebody tries to store more than 100 megabytes in there, because it's a hard limit, they will be blocked from doing so. If they install 90, or if they put 90 megabytes of data in there, then they're going to get an email notification saying, hey, this is a problem. Okay, that's quotas. I can remove a quota, right click, and disable quotas or delete. Create a new template from the quota if I customized it. View quotas, all quotas affecting the folder, and then edit quota properties. Okay, fairly straightforward. Now, the file screening management, so the quota management has to do with how much total data is a user allowed to save to a particular location. The file screening management, that has to do with what types of data is a user allowed to save. So if we look at file screens, we don't have any file screens. So I'm going to look at file screen templates. There we go. So we're going to have a handful of file screen templates here. Block audio and video files, block email files, block executable files, block image files, monitor executable and system files. And again, blocks versus warns. And then notice it also refers to file groups. File groups are defined here. This is how FSRM is going to function. The file screen management is going to function. It will look at the extension of a file, and based on the extension, it's going to categorize it. Now, this is a weakness of FSRM. We are looking at the extensions of a file. So if somebody tries, audio and video files, these are all the file extensions that are going to be blocked. Let me do backup files because it'll be easier. We have, 4 different types. So let's say somebody tries to copy a backup file up, and it says, I'm sorry, that type of file is prevented. You can't do that. Well, if they change the extension, then they can go ahead and upload it as long as they change it to something else that isn't blocked, right? So instead, if I had a .back file that I tried to upload and I change it to a .dwd file, then this isn't going to pick it up and it will allow it to be uploaded. That's the drawback to FSRM file screening. So it can be helpful. It is definitely not foolproof, and somebody can work around it. But at least it gives us something. And then if we have in our policies that, hey, you can't do this and the quotas are hard, there are ways that we can go ahead and use this to at least communicate with users and let them know what's not allowed. And then the quota will catch it if they try to use up too much space. We investigate it. We realize, hey, they've been loading in music files. They've just been changing the file name, which, by the way, means that they would have to change the file name again before they used it. Then we can look into that at that point. Okay, now that we've seen the file groups and the file screen templates, now let's set a file screen. So same thing on my C:\shared. I want to block, I'm going to look at my file screen templates, audio, video, and image files. So I'm going to go to file screens. I'm going to right click and create a file screen. And so from my file screen path, I'm going to browse and choose C:\shared. And then I can pick here which file screen template I want, or I can define a custom file screen properties. By the way, I can create my own file groups. So file groups, right click and create a new file group, right click, go to file screen templates and create a new template as well. So if there's specific things that I want to be able to block that do not fall into the existing file groups and templates, I can do so. Okay, back to creating a file screen. So I'm going to browse, C drive, shared folder, and I want to block audio and video files, so I click create. And that immediately activates it for me. Let me go ahead and add another one, create a file screen. So we're going to do the same path, C drive shared. And for this one, I want to block image files and create. Now, notice the issue here. I can't create the file screen for the same path. So I'm limited to one file screen per path. That isn't unsurmountable. So what we can do is we can create a new file screen template that will block both of them and include it. So let's do a create new file screen template, and we're going to do this as block media. And then I can select the file groups I want here. Active screening, do not allow users to save unauthorized files. Passive screening, allow users to save the files, but we'll just monitor it and notify them. So I want to do the audio files and I want to do the image files. And notice I've got a lot of others here that I can play with as well. So those are my settings. I can maintain my file groups here, create new file groups, edit file groups. I can specify the email message. So send an email to the user who attempted to do this, or send an email to the following administrator. Let's do this to the user. We can create event loops. No SMTP servers are defined because I haven't set any up here. I can create event log entries. I can execute commands when that happens, and then I can generate reports. Okay, let's go ahead and generate a report. We'll generate, actually, you know what? Let's not do a report. Let's do an event log entry. Send a warning to the event log. And then we can specify what this event entry is going to look like. So that creates my new template. Let's block media. There we go. So now that I've got that, I decided, okay, I don't want this one. So I'm going to delete that file screen and I'm going to create a new file screen based on my block media. Set the right path for this, C:\shared, and create. And there we go. We have now done exactly what we wanted to do. We are blocking all media files. Okay, perfect. To review this at any time, you can open it up, look at what it is. All right, we're all set. We are now using FSRM to filter specific types of files that can be stored, and we're using quotas to limit how much people are allowed to store.